you've just come in. That was a very strong show for a young party. But as I told you, this was a small dance. Yeah. We are looking forward to the main dance.
As we look forward to the main dance, Mr. Gachagua, one would say in areas that you performed very well, you've heaped praise on the performance. That means it is an election as well that was carried out by Iebc. The areas that the United Opposition performed poorly, you say that election was rigged. One would say that is double speak, because it is the very same institution that carried out the election.
I am not saying the election was conducted well we won. In Narok, it is the lessons of the Narok people that made that election happen. The officer commanding police station Narok was forced by the DIG to surrender command to Betty Maina, the women rep from Murang'a, and he said no. He was transferred to Kana. You can check. The OCS Narok was transferred on the 24th, 2 days before the elections, because he was being told to cede police command to a member of parliament, and he said he cannot. The woman representative of Murang'a took over the police command in Narok. She's the one who was commanding police operations, and she unleashed terror to the people of Narok town. People were beaten up, people were injured, but the people were resilient, and especially when I went there, forcibly, when the police were stopping me, when live ammunition was fired at my car, when stones were raining on me, and I was very brave and courageous, I gave people the impetus and the courage that they should not be intimidated. We won the election, but it was not a free and fair environment. It's really people fought, you know, and exactly this is what will happen in the general election. I have no doubt in my mind. Kenyans will not agree to be suppressed by goons and police in 2027. I have no doubt in my mind. What I saw in Narok is what we want to encourage across the country. In Kariobangi, there was a lot of violence and voter suppression. But the people there were determined. They wanted to elect a leader whom they want, and they did it. In Kisa, there was a lot of violence. So I'm not saying that in areas where DCP won, it was a fair contest. It wasn't. They won against many odds. In fact, in Narok, if there was no voter suppression, our candidate who got 6,000 votes would have gotten 12,000. But there was a lot of voter suppression, you know, intimidating women and young people to make sure that they don't go to vote. So what I'm saying is, why I'm not worried as a leader in this country, it is possible to intimidate people in a by-election using goons and police. It is not possible to do so during the general election. There are not enough goons to intimidate people in the country. Every goon will be in his constituency, and he will be dealt with by the local people. The police will have no capacity to escort goons to cause mayhem, because in a general election you need 2 police officers in every polling station. We have 45,000 polling stations in Kenya. You need 90,000 police officers. They are never enough. In fact, they borrow manpower from KWS and KFS. So what I'm saying, and I want to assure the people of Kenya, there will be no police officers to escort goons to come and intimidate you. So deal with the goons, and they will be dealt with, I can tell you. Even these goons are only a problem because they have police escort, who have guns, who have live ammunition. If the goons were trying to intimidate the people of Kenya on their own, they will be dealt with by the people of Kenya. But Kenyans, you know, start back a little bit, because normally they are backed. Like when we were at Kariobangi, when we went to celebrate our candidate, Wanyoike, for winning the Kariobangi North seat, the goons came to taken away by the Christians, only for them to come back under police escort. Police backed them with bullets, with tear gas. You know, police were tear gassing children and the clergy so that they can create confusion and allow the guns to attack our people. But if the police keep away, goons are not a challenge in this country. They will be dealt with by the people of Kenya in a very, very, very expeditious manner. So I want to assure the people that what this during the battle has that capacity during a general election to cause mayhem, to intimidate people, to do voter suppression. I can tell you the people of Kenya will make sure that voting is orderly, There is no disruption, there is no voter suppression, there is no interference. The people of Kenya will do so.
Mr. Gachagua, you said that in areas where you participated in election and lost, you will not be going to court. And in other areas where, say, DP in Bere, that is, you've distanced yourself, whether they want to go to court, yes or no. But how then do you distance yourself from United?
Every party is,
and how united it is?
Every party is distinct. We are united in purpose, in terms of getting a single presidential candidate to face William Ruto. That we are united. But to bear it to help the Democratic Party. But they are in charge of their own operations. The DP leader, Justin Muturi, has told me they are going to court. And I wish them well. And it's important that they do.
Would you support him as it goes to
I don't need to support. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer, so I cannot help. But I think they should go to court because what happened in Bere is unacceptable. From my own view, the UDN men who are recipients of the cash transfer program, about 7,000 elderly people in Bere were intimidated by chiefs, so they went to vote for that candidate under duress. And I want to tell our elderly, this cash transfer program is not a gift from William Ruto. It is money that is voted for by the National Assembly. It does not depend on the goodwill of William Ruto for you to continue receiving this money. I want to tell them as we go to the general election, because the chiefs were called the other day and told of the success of Bere and Malava, how the chiefs and Mumbakumi intimidated elderly people who received the cash transfer program to vote for the UDA candidate, and they were told to people to tell their mothers and their fathers that fund, that program is not a gift by William Ruto to the elderly people. It is a government program. These are funds that are voted for and appropriated in the National Assembly. They are from public funds, and they don't have to vote for William Ruto or his candidates for them to continue receiving that. In fact, if I'm elected president, and I think I will, I increase that fund from 2,000 to 5,000 because it's not enough. In fact, other than threatening these elderly people that if they don't vote for William Ruto, he will discontinue the program, what myself I'm telling them is that we must increase that fund from 2,000 to 5,000 to be able to help the old people. And it's their right. Even when they vote for me, it's not a favor. You know, it is their right as senior citizens in this country. And these are public funds. They are not from the president. They are not from his farm. They are not from his pocket. These are public funds. So our people should not be intimidated that if they don't vote for William Ruto in 2027, as the chiefs have been directed to go and threaten them. And I want to ask them to ignore those threats. And we'll be telling them the following 1 year, the whole of 2026, where we go, we'll be telling the elderly people, please, you must cast your vote where you want. You should not be intimidated by government that if you don't vote for William Ruto or UDA candidates, that this fund where you are given 2,000 shillings every month can be discontinued.
Now, so let's remain a little bit in Bere, and I want to look at a situation where, as we talk about the mountain, you have packaged yourself to be, one would say, the kingpin or the spokesperson of the mountain. And we look at the by-election and how much effort was put in the mountain, especially to win the Bere seat. But to look at the results of the by-election, and one would say, seems as if Gachagua does not have the hold of mountain, that the people have spoken otherwise, despite you coming out saying that you have mountain by your side, but results
I don't want to say I have the mountain. The people of the mountain listen to me. And to start with, UDA did not win that seat. I can tell you for free. Yeah, that election was buggered. UDA spent over 800 million bribing people. Ministers were there, PSs, heads of parastatals, goons. Even those people were saying that they won, that they defeated us. Yes, they defeated us in bribing people, in stealing public funds to bribe people. That they defeated us. And they beat us hands down because, one, we cannot steal public funds. We have no capacity. We have no capacity, and we are also not thieves. Number two, they beat us in sending goons to beat their own kinsmen. That one they beat us, as we have no capacity to mobilize goons to beat our people. You know, we can't do that even if it's an election. Rigathi Gachagua can never, mobilize goons to beat the people of Bere. These are my kinsmen. So what they beat us in is use of public funds to bribe people, voter suppression using goons and violence, where ministers were beating women. That's when they beat us, we agree. But on the actual vote, they lost. And I don't want to dwell too much on it. And I also want to tell those people, William Ruto doesn't understand the mountain. And these young boys who hang around him are juveniles. They don't understand the mountain. If they took time to study the history of Bere, they will not be all over yapping and celebrating. Bere North is a constituency that was called Chicago. That constituency since 1992. On the presidential vote, they vote with the rest of the mountain. All other elections are a local affair because they have serious issues of clans and other local dynamics that are very unique to them. In the year 2002, Chicago, then Bere North, today, voted for Mwai Kibaki and a knock 98%. Nobody wanted to hear about Moi and Kanu. Yet the people of Bere North, Chicago as it was called then, went ahead to elect Justin Muturi and Kanu. In 2002, the following election in 2007, they voted for Mwai Kibaki 97% and a PNU. They rejected J.D. Muturi with PNU and elected Lene Kevuti and a Safina. In 2013, the people of Bere North, like the rest of the mountain, they voted for Uhuru Kenyatta and a TNA, went ahead to elect Jagagua and Abbas. That's how dynamic it is. All those people in Bere, including those who voted for the UDA candidate, are one-time people. In matters presidential, the people of Bere North and Bere South, they vote with the rest of the mountain. That's why I'm not even bothered myself. It's not even an issue. It's not, as far as I'm concerned, it's not even an issue because I understand the dynamics of those two constituencies and the way they are voting is all the time. But I want to tell you from what happened, UDA can celebrate. It's a forced celebration. Even themselves, even Ruto himself, he knows. If you spend 800 million for 15,000 votes, yeah, a vote is worth almost 60,000. I mean, what are you saying? What are you telling people?
I mean, in that election...
And the opposition did not have money to spend. They have stolen money from nobody. They have no access to public funds. They were just selling policies. They were just selling their candidate. When you spend 800 million in a constituency, that's why I want to tell these UDA fellows, they are celebrating nothing. During the general election, they will be their own. Kila mtu atakuwa kwake, anang'ang'ana kwake. Watu watakuwa sokoni, there will be no police to help you, there will be no police to help you. You will have to go and fight your own battle.
In Bere, as we just wrap up the conversation around that, there is the aspect that is Moses Kuria part of United Opposition, because we saw him present a candidate through Chama cha Kazi, and in your own deduction, would you say that affected in one way or the other?
It did. It did. You see, when the elders of Bere approached me, it's because of the clan dynamics. Newton Karis and Boy, the one who was in DCP who went to Kuria, come from one clan. And the elders told me, if we have the two candidates, it's not good. You know, the other guy, the one who is said to have won, comes from a different clan. So they asked me to step down this guy so that this clan can have one candidate. And it made a lot of sense because I understand the Bere people and the clan dynamics. Because I'm from the mountain, I understand those things. So I withdrew the candidate. But then the government approached Kuria. Kuria is part of the Ruto administration.
He's not in...
No, he's part of it. He's part of the Chama cha Kazi. This guy got 2,500 votes. Those votes, because of the clan dynamics, would have gone to Newton Karis. Yeah? Despite the theft of the election and the voter suppression and the bribery and the votes went to him, it would have been different. And I have told the people of the mountain, this is going to happen a little bit more. There are so many wheelbarrows in the mountain, and William Ruto will be checking where it is. He introduces 2-3 wheelbarrows, and because I've been talking about it, and people now can see what I've been telling them, that Ruto has many wheelbarrows in the mountain, that he will be unleashing to interfere with the outcome of elections in various constituencies, and can call out the wheelbarrows so that people know them. When they see them, they know they are wheelbarrows. Yeah, but Kuria and Ruto are one, and they were on the same side, you know. Done because I had withdrawn the candidate to allow the United Opposition to have one candidate to face the other. But you see now through Kuria, another candidate was introduced to divide the vote for Newton Karis.
Now, you've said you do not trust Iebc, yet the ballot 2025, as we call it at Standard Media Group, is a litmus test on what is to happen in 2027. If we look at what has happened in 2025 and that pending credence in the sense that in 2027 we might see more and more of this, like you said, we might have more wheelbarrow parties, as you call them, in 2027. How are you going to the election with an Iebc that you do not trust?
Well, we don't have a choice. What we have to do is just improve our mechanism to gather our votes. And the people will gather the votes. Despite the voter suppression, despite the violence, despite the intimidation, the people of Narok made their point. The people of Kenya will do so. And it's good these by-elections have happened. We have now known the use of goons. The people will be prepared to deal with goons. I can tell you, these goons will not disturb anybody any other time in this country. They will be dealt with. The use of police in civilian clothes, people will deal with it. We are very happy that these by-elections happened. We have known what Ruto intends to do, the use of goons and police for voter suppression, for interfering with the will of the people. It is good it has happened in good time. We're going to educate our people. There will be a lot of civic education in the next 1.5 years. As we start meetings in February, wherever we go, we'll be educating our people. Again, let me also tell you, it is easy to bungle a by-election because you are dealing with one vote. In Narok, we had one agent. What will happen in 2007? There will be 10 agents for the MCs. There will be another 6 agents for the MP. There will be another 4 agents for the governor. There will be another 4 agents for the senator. There will be another 3 agents for the women rep. There will be 6 agents for the president. You will find in your classrooms there are 30 agents. And those 30 agents, you cannot make them agree on how to bungle the election because they have different interests. So what will happen is that all of them will protect the credibility of the vote. You know? The agents, because they are many, they will protect the credibility of the vote. Again, each candidate will organize men to protect the polling station from the goons. But you see now, in Bere there was only one candidate. His capacity to protect the polling station is diminished because he's just one person. But when you have 6, you have more than 40 candidates in a polling station fighting. Each one is fighting to win. Those people, they will mobilize 20, 30, 40 people each. There will be 500 people outside there saying you cannot interfere with this election. And you know it's good it has happened. Kenyans are wiser, you know. The Maasais in Narok are saying, had we known that you said goons here, wangekuta sisi tungewangoja. So 2027, the Maasais in Narok will be waiting. They will protect the polling station with their means, and they have the means to protect the polling station from anybody, including the police. So we want to say the police is very embarrassing that the National Police Service have made goons a part of the service. They work together. IG has surrendered the command of the National Police Service to politicians. It's a shame. It's so sad. It's unbelievable at this age that goons can take over the National Police Service. You know, it's unbelievable. Even the other day, the president said that all the goons who attacked us in Kariobangi should be arrested and charged. The following day, the National Police spokesman gave some 80 names. It is 1 week. None has been taken to court. And will not be taken because they are part of government. These are government goons. They were organized by the PS Internal Security. So nobody will take them to court. So the president is just wasting our time. He's just enjoying the people of Kenya, saying we don't want goons. I have directed IG, he stands there, he salutes. It's 1 week since he gave the instruction. The names were given, who has been taken to court. And nobody will be taken to court because these goons are part of the government arrangement to manage politics. So what will happen is that the people of Kenya will prepare themselves to deal with the goons, to deal with the police. And that is what will happen in 2027.
Now, Gachagua, let us talk about the united opposition. So here is a question where you made a statement in terms of zoning Nairobi for DCP, and that elicited a lot of conversation because even the Wiper party leader Kalonzo Musyoka said, we have not gotten into any discussion in terms of zoning. And many have equally just described you as a bully, that within the united opposition, it's either Gachagua's way or the highway. Is that the case?
I don't think I've said it's either my way or the highway, but I'm the party leader of DCP. And I have my party to market. I must market my party, and I must fight for its rightful space in any dispensation. What we have agreed as united opposition is in Nairobi is that we'll have an arrangement where we are not having friendly fire because we will lose. Nairobi is complicated, and there are voting patterns that have been there in history. There are areas where Wiper is strong. There are areas where DCP is strong. If Wiper and DCP fight, we could give way to UDA. And what I was saying is that we have an arrangement, that is true. Even Kalonzo has clarified. He didn't say we have not spoken. What he was correcting is the impression that was given by the press that I said these seats are being reserved for DCP. I never said such a thing. What I said is that between DCP and Wiper, among ourselves, we will take all these seats. That's what I said. I didn't say that before DCP.
That's not the statement you made.
No, that's what I said. I said between DCP and Wiper, we'll take 16 out of 17
Mr.
seats.
Gachagua, you were quoted saying that in Nairobi, the governor position would go to
I
DCP.
said yes. I said that.
You said
yes,
that
I did.
senator position would go to DCP.
I did.
You said that 17 seats of member of parliament would go to DCP.
No, I didn't say that.
At what point did you say that you sat with Kalonzo and agreed on how you would take these seats as united opposition? Because that did not come out.
No, you are also putting words in my mouth. What I said is this. Between myself and Kalonzo, we have had discussions on how we make sure that we take the majority seats in Nairobi by not fighting among ourselves. And I said I'll be fighting for DCP to be given governor, to be given senator, to be given women rep. I'll fight. It does not mean because I'll fight, I'll get. But I must fight. You see, my friend, if you want to go somewhere, you must be ambitious. You must anchor your party properly. I would like my party to take governor. I would like it to take senator. I would like it to take women rep. That does not mean because I would like it to take it, it'll take. We'll negotiate. And then I said, out of the 17 seats, we'll fight for 16 out of 17 among ourselves. I didn't say they are for DCP. The people of the press went ahead to say that I said these seats are for Kikuyus. Because the press, most of it has been pocketed by William Ruto to say DCP is a Kikuyu party. DCP is not a Kikuyu party. I want a seat in Kisa, we want a seat in Narok, we want a seat in Nairobi. Nobody talked about Kikuyus in that church. I talked about DCP. And to tell me that DCP is synonymous to Kikuyu is erroneous. It isn't erroneous. It is not synonymous to Kikuyus. Kikuyus are in DCP, yes. So are many other Kenyans. So what I say, and Kalonzo has clarified, we have not agreed on who is to get what. But what we have agreed is that among ourselves, we'll go for all these seats, and it's doable because we have regional tendencies, we have previous voting patterns, and looking at it on paper, it is possible for the united opposition to get 16 out of 17. And those 16, the DCP will get its fair share commensurate to its strength and presence in Nairobi. But people want to twist what I say, that DCP will take everything, or DCP wants to intimidate Wiper. In fact, I went ahead to affirm the place of Kalonzo Musyoka in Nairobi politics. I did. I say this guy has been making ODM win all these seats, and I want this time to help me in DCP win most of them. That's what I said. So how do you say we are intimidating Wiper and Kalonzo when we are actually affirming his place and role and influence in Nairobi politics? You know, and I can tell you, for the longest, those were the seats that ODM has gotten in Nairobi. is because of the support of Wiper. It is that support I'm looking for. And I have every right for my party to reach out to Kalonzo to help DCP. I mean, who do people think I am? I should not fight for my party. I should not look for a strategy on how I can win more seats in Nairobi. I would be foolish not to do that. And I have reached out to Kalonzo, and I'll continue reaching out to him. If Kalonzo can help DCP to get 8, 9, 10, so be it. If DCP can help him get 5, 6, so be it. And I can tell you, this Nairobi is a discussion, because you must sit down. You can't have friendly fire. It is not wise, it is unstrategic. And that's all I said. And you know, I had some people say, oh, Rigathi should not give out his strategy or his secret. There is no secret. I'm an open book. Myself, I talk for the people who are my supporters. And they have every right to know what I'm planning for them. I don't want hidden cards and hidden, games. Ati tuone tukutane hapa na Kalonzo tupanga hapo kisiri. I am not that kind of a person. Mimi tukikubaliana kitu na wewe nasema tumekubaliana namna hii, so that my supporters know the kind of deal I'm entering them into. We are in the problem we are because we never told people what we had agreed with William Ruto. Had we told people what we had agreed with William Ruto, we will not be where we are.
Rigathi Gachagua, you've mentioned about strategy. The government has mentioned you that you are rudderless, you are planless, that you have no agenda for the people of Kenya. Tonight, let's talk about the agenda. We talk about where we find ourselves today. In January, we have education, students going back to school. And with that, we have seen the entire, in terms of capitation, how that has been a problem in the country. In the teachers, the JSS teachers, senior school teachers have warned that they would down tools. And as we talk about the agenda and talking about education, you say that you want to be president of the Republic of Kenya. DCP wants to form government. United Opposition wants to form government. What is the agenda on fixing everything that we see today, especially in the education sector? What promise do you have to the parents and students, children of the people of Kenya?
Thank you. I'm very happy that you have asked me this question. William Ruto says we have no agenda. We have a very serious agenda. Very serious agenda for this country. And I'm happy to have this discussion tonight. And let me tell the people of Kenya before I go into the agenda. I've heard the president going every meeting saying that the problem of Kenya is tribalism. That's a lie. It's a false narrative to run away from the real issues of discussion in Kenya. We have no problem of tribalism in this country. There is no community fighting any other community. There is no community that has a problem with another community. The problems that bedevil Kenya is theft of public resources. The problem of this country is mismanagement of public resources. The problem of this country is not tribalism. It is the sale of national assets. The problem of this country is not tribalism. It is abductions and extrajudicial killings. The problem of this country cannot be tribalism. How does tribalism cause extrajudicial killings? How does tribalism cause the sale of public assets? What the president has done, because he has messed the country completely, he is creating a false narrative about tribalism and cohesion. Oh, we need to bring the country together. This country is united against theft, is united against corruption. This country is united against theft of public resources.
To corruption. Let's talk about
so what I'm saying is,
the plan.
As I want us to discuss the problems of Kenya, but I want to put it from onset. That tribalism is not a problem in this country. And I'm very disappointed that even very serious political commentators and very serious newspapers have actually brought the narrative by William Ruto that the problem is tribalism, so that we don't discuss the real issues of how he has made this country in 3 years. You have asked about education. Mwai Kibaki, the third president of the Republic of Kenya, gave us free primary education. Uhuru Kenyatta came and gave us secondary school education that is free, so that education is an equalizer. Every child, despite your background, despite the ability of your parents, you have access to education to give you a springboard to be somebody in life, for yourself, for your parents, and for the country. Within 3 years, William Ruto and his government have destroyed whatever Mwai Kibaki did and what Uhuru Kenyatta did. As we speak, every child in secondary school is supposed to get 22,000. Last year they were only given 9,000. 13,000 did not come. Most secondary schools are being auctioned because they took food from suppliers they cannot pay. You know, as we speak in January, parents have been told to prepare to pay. On paper, the Ministry of Education says education is free, but in real life, they go and tell the teachers, the head teachers, you ask the parents to pay, but don't say it's the official government policy. You know? And when the teachers made noise, instead of making available money for capitation, they were called to State House and bribed with the 10,000 shillings each. You know? You bribe the principals and the head teachers to stop talking about the collapse of the education system. So what I am saying is this, that we need to fix our education system, and one of the things that I and the government that I will form will do is make sure we reinstate free primary education as given by President Mwai Kibaki. Again, we reinstate, we reinstate free secondary education, especially for the day schools, so that once you go to a day school, you pay nothing. You know, again, we have a problem of 20,000 teachers of the junior secondary school. These teachers, and I was there, I was deputy president, we recruited them on internship for 2 years, and they were promised, and I was there. We were there with Nancy Macharia, she was the TSC secretary, William Ruto was there, Ezekiel Machongu was there, I was there, and we agreed even in cabinet that they will be on internship for 2 years, then they will be confirmed in permanent and pensionable. The government has refused to do that, you know, and they are saying there is no money, you know. And this money is there, but this is the money that is being stolen. This is the money that was being given to teachers 10,000 each. This is the money that was being given to chiefs 10,000 each. This is the money that was being used in Berea and Malava. This money has been there for the JSS teachers. But this is the money that has been stolen and diverted to politics by William Ruto and Kindiki. All this money we are seeing around the country being dished for politics, this is the money that was for the JSS. Look at the lecturers. We had a problem with the lecturers for a long time. They were on strike for a very long time. 49 days. The other day it was agreed that they'd be paid 50%. They were lied to. They have all been paid. We have a looming strike in January because the money is not available. This is the money the president is using for re-election. And then these teachers are being told the problem of Kenya is tribalism. How can the problem of Kenya be tribalism? The problem is mismanaging the education sector. 2024-2025, you are deputy president. Yes. Still, capitation to schools never got there. Do you take responsibility? I take no responsibilities because, you know, in 2024, I disagreed with William Ruto about the finance bill and about the way he was running the country. It's on record. That is why I was hounded out of office. I started telling him the country is headed in the wrong direction. We have lost our priorities. And this is not right, you know. By the time the impeachment was working, was in the works, Mr. Gachagua, you had served as deputy president. Yeah, but everybody knows. Everybody knows. How do you distance yourself? Everybody knows. That you served in. Everybody knows, and you ask JB Muturi, he can tell you, I oppose most of those things in cabinet. And it is one of the grounds that was used to impeach me, that I was having insubordination, that I was not agreeing to cabinet decisions. Yet you go to cabinet so that you express your opinion. It doesn't mean because you are in cabinet you must agree to everything that is being proposed. For the last, I served 1 year. The second year I had a problem with the president when I realized that we are just stealing public funds, that we have lost our priorities as a country, that we are destroying the education sector. If you look at HELP was working. They came and introduced a mongrel of finance model that cannot work. I opposed it in cabinet. I said, Mr. President, I have listened to lecturers, I have listened to students, I have listened to parents. Nobody wants this system. They only say, if it's working, don't fix it. This HELP has been working for very many years. Let's panobit it a little bit and improve it. Let's not scrap it. And what I'm saying is that
How would you fix it?
I would reinstate help and panobit it. It needs a few things here and there to make it more inclusive, so that you can even include people in polytechnics, the tertiary institutions, and you also make sure that students have access to this fund, and then you create a good mechanism on how they pay when they get employment or when they get self-employed. But you don't scrap the whole thing. It's throw away the baby with the bathwater. And these are things that we want to do. We want to bring back free primary education, free secondary education, strengthen the competency-based curriculum by involving all stakeholders. You know, you cannot impose a curriculum without talking to the teachers, without talking to the parents, without talking to the pupils and the students. These are things that we must do. And again, we must invest as a country on our teachers. We must remunerate them well. These teachers who are internship, we must confirm them to P&P so that they can also earn a dignified living. How do you get teachers to teach the young people when themselves they are very uncomfortable, when they have no food in their house, when they have no bus fare, when they have no bus fare to get to school? Again, we must digitize our learning system. Most of these programs we have introduced, nobody prepared the teachers. You know, we did not upgrade them by first making sure that they are all computer literate. So these are things that we want to do. And my brother, to build our country, we must fix our education system. And Iebc did it, and everybody was happy. In a record 3 years, that has been destroyed. And that's what we are saying, we must fix it. And the problem that we have today, as we go for Christmas, parents are crying, where will they get money to pay school fees in January? And then William Ruto is on top of the vehicle telling parents their problem is tribalism. What has tribalism got to do with the capitation? What has it got to do with the payment of the JSS teachers? Let us deal with the real thing. The real thing is that the government has destroyed the education system, and it has undermined great work that was done by Iebc and Uhuru Kenyatta.
You know, healthcare is another big ticket item that Kenyans are struggling with. SHA, is it working? Yes. Is it working? The government says it is working, though it needs a little bit of fixing, panel beating for it to work. You know, recently we saw the president was recently in the United States of America. He signed a new health deal where data would be shared. What's your position on that? Even as we still remain not to do with healthcare, SHA is not working.
SHA is not working.
What is Gachagua's solution?
SHA is not working because it was a fraud. William Ruto attended a church service where I attended in Embu. It was the inauguration of the Bishop of Embu Diocese. And then he took the microphone to say SHA is working. He could not speak, he was shouted down because it's a lie. SHA is not working and everybody knows it. Even as 34 child knows SHA is not working. SHA was a fraud to steal money by Ruto and his cohorts. And already 104 billion shillings have been stolen. The NHIF system was working, and it needed 800 million to be upgraded into something that is functional. The whole scheme of SHA was to steal funds.
Yet, Mr. Gachagua, you allowed it to happen.
Yeah, I am saying I oppose these things. And that is why, when I was removed from office, one of the accusations against me, one of the grounds of removing from office is that I was not respecting the president and I was having insubordination by opposing government programs. But theft is not a government program. The government that I fought for did not tell the people of Kenya that theft will be one of our programs. So I opposed theft. I did not oppose a government program. I opposed theft by William Ruto and his people. So, you remember the other day, 10 billion shillings was stolen and paid to hospitals that are closely associated with CS Aden Duale. You remember on the 1st of December, Aden Duale, with a lot of drama and theatrics, gave a lot of documents to the director of criminal investigation, DCI, 1st of September. Today is, I don't know, 8th or 9th. Since that time, 3 months, nobody has been taken to court, nobody has been arrested, there has been no information. It was just drama and theatrics. Nobody will be taken to court. The whole SHA nonsense is theft of public resources by Ruto, Duale and company at the expense of the lives of the people of Kenya. That is the folly of it. You know, and they keep on sending ministers to tell wananchi that SHA is working. People just look at them. You know, people just look at them. Every day. Yesterday I was in Muranga, in a place called Ithanga, for a funeral. And a matter was brought to my attention. A lady died 4 months back. She remains unburied because they are not able to pay the hospital bill for 450,000. They have raised 300,000. They are unable to raise 150,000 for the last 2 months. I had to give them 150,000 so that that patient, the body can be removed from hospital. And then you are telling us SHA is working. If SHA is working, that lady would have been buried, a long time ago. If you go to the countryside and ask everybody, this SHA thing is a monster. It's not working. And what I'm saying myself, if given an opportunity by the people of Kenya, there are certain things that I want to do. One, I would like to revert to the NHIF ideology. It was a very good thing. Just reform it well, upgrade it to meet the modern times. Again, Linda Mama, that was here, that was brought by Uhuru Kenyatta. We want our women to give birth with dignity. It was scrapped. I would reinstate Linda Mama. I would also like to work very closely with the private healthcare providers and faith-based organizations. The church, the Catholic Church, they have beautiful hospitals, mission hospitals. The PCA Church, they have beautiful hospitals. We need to support the church. Like now, since NHIF was scrapped, there were owed billions of shillings. They have never been paid. Most of those hospitals owned by the church are almost collapsing. This is something that we must work on. Again, we must remunerate properly our healthcare providers. We must make sure that the doctors and the nurses and the clinical officers, they deal with human life. People who deal with human life are not your ordinary work. These are people who are dealing with life. These are people who need to be settled. They need to be well taken care of, and we need to have a discussion with them. We need also to expand the universal health coverage so that we make sure that the level 2 hospitals, that those are the dispensaries, and the level 3, the health centers, are properly equipped. My brother, most of these cases that come to level 4 hospitals for admission and level 5, if there was proper intervention at level 1, 2, and 3, they will never get to the level 4. But these cases get bigger because they don't get the proper attention. I would like to focus more on level 2. Those are the health centers, and level 3. The level 2 is dispensaries, level 3 are the health centers. I would like to focus more. And then again, the level 4, we make sure they are well equipped, and we will go a step further by making sure every level 4 hospital in the country has a ward to deal with rehabilitation of addicts, because we have a serious challenge of drug addiction and alcoholism in this country, and the treatment of addicts is very expensive by the few health providers who are doing it from a private perspective. We would like every level 4 hospital to have a ward, specifically dedicated to deal with addiction. Again, we would like to digitize, our health systems, so that, if you saw one doctor and you go and see another because you are far away, at the touch of a button, they can get your medical history.
Does this mean that you get in and you get rid of SHA? Because yesterday I had a discussion with the PS, Dr. Oluga, and he said that the government is working on a database where all the information for Kenyans will be in a single database, such that wherever it is you go in this country, you will still get the information. So Gachagua, does it mean you get rid of that and start afresh?
No. I am saying invest whatever is working. Whatever is working will improve on it. Yeah, but first we have to stop the theft. We cannot improve on the theft. We can only stop it. Theft of public resources is our main challenge, especially in the health sector. And SHA is a scam. It's a fraud. We must get rid of SHA, because from the inception, it was tailor-made and birthed to steal public funds at the expense of the health of our people. We must go back to NHIF and improve it, panobit it, and make it compliant to the modern way of doing things. But we cannot continue with this theft. This, we must bring it to an end. Again, we need to implement a mental health policy. We only have one medical facility here in Mathare and a few others. And mental health is a big challenge in this country. But you see the way people are treated at that institution, it's like they are criminals, because it's only one institution to handle so many people. We need people to know that mental challenges is not a crime, and you should not be embarrassed about it, so that even relatives know. And the only way to do is to have a good mental health policy and to make sure that we have enough psychiatrists in every level 4 hospital where people can go on and get counseling before issues get out of hand. So these are some of the things we like to do. And of course, what was signed in America is unacceptable. Why? We cannot sell our medical data to foreigners. We cannot. Even if we are poor, we have our own dignity. The right to privacy is absolute. We cannot give our medical records to the Americans for their own research and analysis using our records. And I think it is very inappropriate for the president to brag that he has signed an agreement with the Americans to get some money, you know, so that we give away our medical records. And I'm happy that Okia Mtata has already gone to court, and I wish him well, because this must be stopped. These are things that we cannot allow, you know, that a president and a government can auction our dignity as a people. You know, you need privacy to your records, your medical records. It cannot be given to foreigners. I think that is totally unacceptable.
I spoke to the PS, and he talked of aggregate data that will be shared. It will not be this is Dennis Aseto who came to hospital and was diagnosed with a certain medical condition. It is a question of 10 people came to the hospital and were diagnosed with cancer, and based on that information helps the US government, who are assisting Kenyans, to know how many medical equipment Kenya needs. And that is kind of data that will be shared.
Can anybody oppose that? Can anybody believe that PS?
Do you believe it?
If that PS is saying SHA is working and is not working, can you believe anything else they say? If they are lying to people of Kenyans on basics, things that are straightforward, is SHA working or not? They say it's working. You go to hospital, it's not working. Can you trust that PS on complicated matters?
But you're based on what fact, Mr. Gachagua, is the question?
You know, we have been around for a long time, and we understand these things. And I want to wish Okia Mtata well, and I believe our courts of law will not allow our country to auction our medical data. I don't think our courts will allow it.
You know, the country's security is something to look into.
Yes.
And recently we saw the arrest of many individuals, especially in the immigration department, with regard to matters to do with IDs. And that has pointed a picture on where the country is with regard to those who have the documents that are recognized as Kenyans. It is a matter that we had a discussion with you back in the days. But as we also just talk about security, there is the question of extrajudicial killing by the police. During the campaign period, you say police attacked you in church, you know. And as we just have a discussion on that, where do you see the country's security is? You have yourself been in that space for a very long time. Well, if we are to fix the security, do you also care to comment if at all this ID business is being used to influence elections in 2027?
To start with, as a young man, when I joined government at the age of 23, I joined in the security sector. I understand the security architecture of this country quite well. And I must say I'm very saddened that we have lost it as a country. We have a clueless CS for Interior who has no idea on how to manage a country's security architecture. We have a situation where the National Police Service is working with the goons. It's like they are a unit in the National Police Service. We have seen the President of the Republic of Kenya moving around in town in Nairobi in a company of goons. They are robbing people when they are in the presidential convoy. They are, you know, touching women's breasts when they are with the presidential convoy. They are stealing people when police are there. And there's nothing the police can do because it is the president who has invited the goons to accompany him in Nairobi. We have seen where police are tear-gassing the clergy, and they are tear-gassing Sunday school children in church, and no action is taken. You have found where goons are being ferried in police vehicles with crude weapons, where goons have become part of our security architecture. That is how sad it is. You know, it's unbelievable, you know. And you have found where the country has sunk low, so low that the Inspector General of Police and the police commanders have surrendered the police command to politicians. It is politicians who are giving directions to police. Attack so and so, beat so and so, and there's nothing that can be done. And the commanders are helpless. We have found, I have myself been attacked in 12 incidents in the last 1 year. I have reported this to the IG, to the DCI. Nothing has been done because those gangs are under the command of politicians who are opposed to my politics. Is the National Police Service is no longer at the command of the Inspector General, is no longer at the command of the county commanders. The National Police Service is at the command of politicians and criminal gangs. And sometimes we wonder, this Haiti mission, the police went to Haiti supposedly to help the people of Haiti deal with the criminal gangs, but it is looking that they went there actually for benchmarking on how to work with the goons. Because since these people went to Haiti, the relationship of the police and goons have actually become very close and very cordial, and they are actually working hard together. You saw during the Sabasaba riots, property was destroyed in the mountain region and in Nairobi by goons under police supervision. So what we are saying is this, you look at the situation in the border. The president made a decision that is ill-advised from a security perspective. Of course, he is doing it politically. He thinks he can get foreigners from Somalia to come and register as voters and vote for him. So foreigners are being issued IDs. The 5 chiefs who were supposedly abducted, it was not an abduction. It was stage managed by government.
Why would you say that?
Yeah, because they were in Somalia, registering Somalians as Kenyans.
What evidence do you have?
No, we have it. You saw the other day a racket here in Isili where foreigners are being registered as Kenyans, and in fact I'm told the police who unearthed that racket are actually in trouble because they were not supposed to unearth it. It's embarrassing to the government because the government is part of that nonsense. And that thing that the president did is very bad for Kenyan Somalis, our Somalis from Kenya. As it is today, they are having challenges on visa application to go to various destinations in the world because the world is not sure, whether they are Kenyans or not. And it's very sad because the Kenyan Somalis are very hardworking people. They are very enterprising businessmen. These are people who should be able to travel all over the world, go to America, go to Britain, go to Canada, and do business. They are people who have contributed immensely to the growth of business in this country. It is very sad if they are profiled for extra surveillance and scrutiny arising from that decision by the president.
It is the extra surveillance and scrutiny that was happening in the country, which is called vetting, and it is that process that many people from these border counties, I included, because I went through the vetting process.
That is why we went
for that. Many say that the vetting process is not fair to the people who are Kenyans, and we need to go through a different exercise as any other Kenyan.
We would rather have extra surveillance at the border to make sure that only Kenyans are registered as Kenyans and foreigners are kept away, other than get our Kenyan Somalis profiled by the international community arising of a decision that cannot be properly justified. We must protect the Kenyan Somalis because they are Kenyans and they have every right to travel all over the world. And it is very sad, out of a decision that was made, that they are being viewed suspiciously. It is not right that our people are being profiled. But having said that, what I would want to do myself if elected president, the first thing I would do, day one, is recall our police officers from Haiti.
They're already home.
A few. The others are still there.
The process is ongoing.
Many have lost their lives. Many have come back with injuries. Even the one the president said he died, the body has never come home. We must make sure these policemen come here and serve the people of Kenya. How is it that people are being terrorized by criminals and cattle rustlers when our policemen are in Haiti? Why can they come and first guard the people of Kenya? Number two, we also want to equip our police officers and give them modern equipment to fight modern crime. Train them on cyber crime, make sure that they are properly trained to deal with modern crime as it's happening in the country. Again, these policemen are suffering a lot. This SHA nonsense has really affected them. They used to have a very good insurance cover. And if you talk to the police officers, they are really crying because they are being forced to go to SHA that is not working. Same with our teachers. You know, we want our policemen to have a very good medical scheme. We want to have a risk allowance for them because most of them suffer in the line of duty. We also want to make sure they are properly remunerated. These men and women in uniform, you know, sacrifice a lot for this country and to make sure that we are all safe. Again, they have no vehicles, you know. You had the other day Mukomen saying that people should give them fuel. That is corruption. Wananchi pay taxes. Why should Wananchi pay taxes that is being stolen by bribing teachers and senators and chiefs, and then you ask them to go and buy fuel? All police stations in Kenya and police posts should have a well-serviced vehicle with enough fuel to enable them serve the people.
So to talk about matters to do with security, you mentioned that you have seen goons working together with politicians and police. Evidence on that, Mr. Gachagua, because at the end of the day, if it's just another statement, it remains being a hearsay without evidence. And even as we talk about security, there is the fact that there are Kenyans who were abducted in Tanzania. That is a matter to do with foreign affairs and how that was handled. One would ask the question, where does our heart lie when it comes to protecting our own within and without the country, as well as other citizens of other countries? Talk about the Turkish citizens who were abducted in Nairobi and taken back to their country, who were seeking asylum in the country. Where are we in all these situations?
We are doing very badly in matters violation of human rights. You know, there are very many cases of forced abductions, forced disappearances, and extrajudicial killings. No action has been taken. I want to promise the people of Kenya on day one, there is a squad of 101 officers that has been in charge of those abductions. It will be disbanded, and all officers who abducted our children and killed them will be held to account.
That squad was put there during the time when your deputy president...
and I complained about it. I complained very bitterly.
Did you raise the question to IPOA?
No, I raised it publicly in Mombasa for the people of Kenya. I raised it with the president himself in a security meeting. I raised it with him one-to-one, and when he did not heed to what I was asking him to do, I held a press conference and condemned extrajudicial killings and abductions. I still hold that positions, that on forming government, abductions must come to an end, extrajudicial killings must come to an end, and all officers who have taken part in abductions and extrajudicial killings will be prosecuted.
Because you were part of the National Security Council, what was the reasoning behind the formation of that force?
Well, abductions and extrajudicial killings, and I opposed it myself. And when the president did not listen to me, I held a public press conference. It's on record on the 26th of June 2024. It's on record.
But that, Mr. Gachagua, was way after you had served in government. Why didn't you speak on the very first day?
Those issues,
because Mr. Gachagua, one would say, at the point when you were giving that statement, it's because you knew that impeachment was coming.
That was in June. Impeachment was in October. It had reached a stage. I had raised it privately. I had raised it in meetings, and it was still going on. So I made a decision to raise it publicly. And it's on record. And everybody knows I raised it publicly. What I'm saying is, we must make sure when we form government that extrajudicial killings must come to an end, abductions must come to an end, and all officers responsible will be held to account. And let me tell police commanders who are escorting goons around the country, we are keeping a very good diary. All those officers who are in charge of Narok, on the day we were there and we were brutalized, they will be held to account when we form government. No, the records are there. We'll be asking who was the OCS Narok on that day, who was the officer commanding police division that day, who was the OCS Tigoni police station when criminals attacked Rigathi Gachagua in the Muru, who was the OCS then. They will be taken to account. And let me tell police officers, all those who are carrying out illegal instructions from politicians, you will answer for them. And criminal activities have no time limit. When we form government, and I have asked all leaders to keep a record of police excesses. Keep the name of the OCS, the name of the OSPD, the name of the sub-county commander, the guy in charge of CID, and keep proper record of the police excesses. the sins of commission and omission. When we form government, these officers will be held to account.
Are you speaking to a government that will finally allow the Inspector General to be independent and do the policing work?
You know, we have an Inspector General of Police who have surrendered his command to his juniors. This Douglas Kanja does not even know what goes on. The guy in charge is called Masengeri, the guy in charge of AP, and the guy called the Langat. These are the guys who are running the show and the DCI. The IG is a flower girl in Kenya. He doesn't know what goes on. He's from my village. He has no idea what goes on, you know, and it's so sad, you know. Ourselves, when we form government, we want to allow independent institutions to function. We want independent offices to function. You want an IG who can take command of the police. And I want to tell Douglas Kanja and those two DIGs to remember that in 2007, Major Ali was taken to the ICC for sins of commission and omission. And the way we are driving this country as we go towards the election, I see these officers having a date at the Hague. Kaja, Langat, Masengeri. I mean, I see you having a date at the Hague.
Will you find
because the way things are going,
ICC?
No, the way things are going, you allow goons to terrorize Kenyans under police formation. Kenyans say no, and we fight, and then there is civil strife. ICC comes in, and you people in charge of the police command, you will have to account.
Would you be at the forefront in filing a petition
of course,
the ICC?
Of course. I can tell you a lot of things are going on. A lot of documentation is going on. And I've told William Ruto he had a date with the Hague. I see him having a second date. And he knows he was not vindicated. It is only that witnesses were interfered with. He knows what Hague means. And the way things are going, I see him having a second date at the Hague because he has allowed criminals to take over the security sector and rain terror on the people of Kenya, you know. And I don't, this will constitute crimes against humanity eventually. And as we go towards 2027, the way I'm listening to Kenyans talk, Kenyans will defend themselves. And you see, when Kenyans defend themselves because the police are not available to defend them, there is anarchy. When there is anarchy, there is death, there is injury, and then the ICC will come in.
The Kenyans will defend themselves. What exactly do you mean?
What do you mean? If you go to terrorize people, goons under police formation go to terrorize people, you expect people just to sit down? People will say no, because Kenyans are people who have a right to self-determination. And why are police allowing that? Because under the Constitution, their work is to protect life and property. But the police are actually the ones harming the people of Kenya. They are the ones escorting goons to harm Kenyans. Yet they are the ones who are supposed to defend Kenyans from harm by goons. But they are the ones working with goons to harm the people of Kenya. And I'm telling you, that situation is not acceptable. And Kenyans will say no, you know. And I am listening to many people. They are saying no, you know. People are saying no, we are not going to be attacked again. We'll also get ready. We'll defend ourselves. And that will bring anarchy. It's called the law, the state of nature. Why governments were formed is because people needed to be regulated. But we have a country where we are reverting to the state of nature, where police are working with criminals to terrorize people. When people are supposed, these policemen are paid by the taxpayers to defend the people of Kenya. They are the ones joining criminals to attack the people of Kenya. What do you expect the people of Kenya to do?
Mr. Gachagua, does it mean that today, with all the cases that you have reported that you were attacked, you are unable today to walk into a police station and file a report because you do not trust the police? And if that is the case, then what picture does that paint in the minds of Kenyans who have no other option?
Exactly, that's the point I'm saying. What do you expect Kenyans to do? What has happened myself now, I have people who defend me. The people who attacked us in the Kariobangi church, they were fought by my people, my supporters. They fought them and they drove them away. Then they came back with the police, with guns and live ammunition and tear gas, and overwhelmed our people because they have guns. But you see, what will happen is that there will be many cases like that. What has happened as they attacked me in the Muru, they have never attacked me again without reaction. Because you see also I have supporters who will not allow people just to attack me. You know, wherever I go now, I have people also who defend me against the gangs. But do you want that in a country where people are defending each other and police are escorting one side to attack the other? It's a shame for Douglas Kaja and the National Police Service and Kipchumba Murkomen. He talks a lot of English, but it is during his tenure, you know, it's during his tenure, you know, that goons have taken over the National Police Service. He wears expensive shoes, expensive belt, expensive watch, but the country is being run by goons. How does he even get sleep? How do you get sleep as CS Interior? To say you are the CS Interior of the Republic of Kenya when goons have taken over the National Police Service. He should be really ashamed of himself. Very ashamed. It has never happened, even during the Moi era. We have never seen goons take over the country from the policemen. We have never seen that. And I can tell you, even the president is part of it, because he issued instructions the other day. A week is over. Nobody has been prosecuted, which means he was not serious. He was just playing PR.
You see, Mr. Gachagua, one would hope that where the country finds itself, especially in matters of security, that security is given utmost importance and that Kenyans would respect as well the rule of law, and that the police as well would be there to do policing work. But let us go to on something that is very keen and Kenyans are following on, and this is the country's debt. Yes. At the time when you formed government, you said yourself, you found a public office that was empty. The country was purely broke, and during the campaign period, we would not borrow. We would have to seal all the loopholes and continue. But we saw the borrowing that continued even then. Today we speak in terms of 12 trillion shillings that is choking Kenyans on a daily basis. And if you just pause, Mr. Gachagua, and look at what trillion shillings is vis-a-vis what we see on ground, many would say mambo kwa ground is different. How would you handle, first of all, where do you place Kenya in terms of the debt situation, and what would be the solution if the united opposition of government?
You know, my brother, the national debt now is almost 12.5 trillion. And we have borrowed 4 trillion in the last 2 years. And we are borrowing about 3.5 billion daily. That's okay, we can borrow 3.5 billion daily. But what is annoying is that 3 billion is being stolen daily through procurement. You know, why are we borrowing to steal? William Ruto and his government are borrowing 3.5 billion daily, and then still 3 billion daily. You saw the other day a video, one of his MPs from Rift Valley, weighing money with a weighing scale. You know, because they have no time to count. The money is too much that counting billions will take a long time. So they weigh one note, they weigh one bundle, and they count it and they weigh. Then they use the weighing scale, you know, to be able. I saw another video that there is a central bank in Italy. You saw notes being packed. All of this is money that is corruption through procurement. William Ruto has made corruption through procurement a way of life in this country. And he has started by having corruption in the State House, where he bribes people daily when people can see without even hiding, without even being ashamed. I used to see people bribing policemen, hiding a little bit. You know, they would hide, fold the note. Because bribery is not a good thing, they will hide a little because they are ashamed, because bribery is not a good thing. He called chiefs and assistant chiefs and bribed them with 10,000 each, and cheated them that he'll make them deals. And the chiefs were just laughing because it's a lie. They know it's not possible because we don't have those number of administrative divisions. So one of the chiefs called me from somewhere, I don't want to say where, he'll hunt him down. And he said, this man is such a liar. He's telling us to go and lie to the people of Kenya that he'll make Kenya Singapore. But what is sad is that he has lied to us, ourselves, before he can go and lie to the people that he'll make us deals. And we know very well that it is not possible, you know. We had him bribe teachers, bribe everybody. This is money that has been stolen. Because it's not his money. His salary cannot match what he's using to bribe people. You have seen the sale of national assets, you know. The Safaricom, Safaricom was sold to Kenyans in 2007, 25% shares. There was IPO, the initial IPO. Kenyans oversubscribed. They bought everything. I tried to buy, they could only allow me to buy a little. Today, those shares are being sold to a foreign company, Vodacom, at 34 shillings. Kenyans have analyzed the growth of Safaricom, its potential, its outreach, and they are putting that value at almost 70 shillings.
Gachagua, how much is a share as we speak at the NEC of Safaricom?
I am not sure. I'm told it's 30 something or 40 something.
It is 28.
Whatever it is. But you see what you do with a business. You look at its potential. You look at the potential of that business, and you look at its projected growth, so that you know what is the potential value. Again, what we are saying, this is a company that is so central in Kenyans' lives. It's the one doing M-Pesa, almost everybody on Safaricom. Why do you want to give it to a foreigner? If this company must be sold, why don't we sell it to Kenyans? Open it to the people of Kenya, let them buy. Why do you want to give a foreign company 55% ownership, majority shareholders of a company that is so central in our lives?
I had that discussion.
Why it is being sold?
The CS Treasury today, I had a discussion with him in the studio today.
Yes.
And the shares at the NEC today for Safaricom goes at 28 shillings. So 34 shillings is profit for the government.
But why can't you open it to Kenyans?
And the government went through a process for the past 6 months, going through and analyzing, doing research to understand how much that would be. And today, the money that is held at Safaricom, over 240 billion shillings, that the government says this is money lying idle at the NEC, and we can take that money, inject it into development of the country, that Kenyans move, because at the end of the day, the Singapore story that President William Ruto speaks about needs this country to march in terms of development. Based off that explanation, why would you oppose the government taking its assets, selling it?
Our constitution makes public participation a must. When we are dealing with anything that belongs to the public. Have they asked the people of Kenya? No. They are trying to ask now. I saw an advertisement because we have complained. Have they asked the people of Kenya? If you look at this company, since inception, they have paid taxes 1.48 trillion. Since inception, they have paid 550 billion in terms of dividends. When you look at the amount of money they pay every year, what is the wisdom of selling this company? Because it's like saying, because we have no food here in this house, I sell my household items here, and then I buy food. Then after I finish the food, what happens? When you look at the dividends that they pay to the government, when you look at that amount, where will it be coming from?
The dividend that we talk about is around 16 billion annually every year. But even when we talk about public participation, there is a process under law, especially because when you talk about matters transaction, there is a process that guides the same. As you speak right now, Kenyans have been asked to go.
A decision has already been made to sell the company.
Kenyans have been given an opportunity to lend their voices on the sale of these shares that we are talking about. The government of Kenya has not decided it is selling. If Kenyans say no, it will not be sold.
No, my brother.
Instead, let me explain. Participate in this public participation.
You don't say you are selling this and even the amount before the people of Kenya can tell you to sell. You first say we want to sell. Then when you are given the go-ahead by the people of Kenya to sell, then you start the process. But they have already completed the process, agreed they are selling to who, at how much, then they are coming to the people of Kenya. And then they are coming through Parliament. Parliament is an appendage of William Ruto. You can tell how it will go. There is no public participation. It's an exercise in futility. It's a fait accompli. It is simply formalizing what has already been decided. But the question we are saying, Why don't you ask the people of Kenya whether you need to sell Safaricom?
That's what they're asking.
When they tell you yes, why don't you give them an opportunity to buy? Why do you want to sell it to a foreign company? Why don't you let the people of Kenya own this company that is so important to their lives? Why do you want it to be owned by a foreigner? But you have already decided whom to sell. How are those negotiations done? Because they are commissions. Because they are people who have an interest. They are people who have gained the money there. What we are saying, if Safaricom must be sold, let the people of Kenya, with their financial challenges they are having, be allowed to buy. I buy for 20,000, another one for 20,000. Then the company remains here. The government will remain with the shares, 35%. The people of Kenya, will own the 15, plus the other 25 we bought the other time. Then the company, 60% is owned by government and the people of Kenya. Why do you want to give 55% majority shareholder to a foreigner? A company that is so instrumental in Kenyan life.